Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight in Our News.
Plans are underway to rebuild Abaco's airports following Hurricane Dorian.
Teachers at C.H. Reeves are sitting in for their third straight week.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs. Topping news tonight, a $300 million heads of agreement was signed between the Minis administration and Baha Mar for the start of Phase 2 of the mega resort. Officials announced today that the expansion, which will include the construction of a water park, is expected to create 500 permanent jobs. Jasmine Brown was there for the signing and filed this report.
The Prime Minister said the signing was a good move for the Bahamas, as he says it will help with post-Dorian recovery.
This is extremely timely in that we've just been struck by Hurricane Dorian, where there are many individuals, both in Abaco and Grand Bahama, who would now be seeking jobs.
Dr. Minis, who was once highly critical of the project when he was in opposition, called Baha Mar's expansion a wonderful expression of confidence in the tourism industry during the signing of the heads of agreement. Minis said the fact of the matter is the development will mean more jobs and economic opportunities for Bahamians. According to officials, Phase 2 will create 500 direct jobs and 1,000 indirect jobs.
Speaking with Graham and the Baha Mar team, they've informed me that once it's been signed, that the job opportunities would commence immediately.
Also on hand for Wednesday's signing that took place at the Cabinet Office were Baha Mar President Graham Davis, Cabinet Secretary Camille Johnson, and several members of Cabinet. Davis says the price tag attached to the project's expansion is $300 million.
Today we're unveiling our next phase, which is a $300 million investment, which brings our total investment now for the project up to $4.8 billion. And today marks a very proud moment for us with the partnership and support of the Prime Minister and his cabinet.
So just what will Phase 2 entail? Davis says it will include the construction of a major water park and entertainment center on 15.3 acres of land that housed the former Wyndham Hotel. The new water park will be dubbed Baha Mar Bay. Phase 2 will also include the widening of the resort's pier and the upgrade and refurbishment of the Malia Hotel.
We look forward to rapidly build out these unique and differentiating experiences.
Phase 2 is expected to be completed within the next 2 years. Meantime, the PM says the heads of agreement will be tabled in Parliament. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Independent Centreville MP Rhys Chapman back on the attack days after resigning from the Free National Movement. This time, Chapman was responding to Prime Minister Dr. Minis, who, after Chapman's resignation, declared that politics requires political maturity.
You show me political maturity based on the way it's defined in this particular system, I show you political sellout.
Chapman addressed parliamentarians on Wednesday in a communication filled with jabs at Prime Minister Dr. Minis.
Mr. Speaker, we gave Mr. Politics leadership. I know because I was there. Others had to fight. We gave Mr. Politics a free ride in a constituency where you don't even have to go door to door. You just have to email.
During former Cabinet Minister Tennyson Wells' funeral last Friday, and without naming Chapman, Minis declared that politics in the Bahamas requires loyalty, fortitude, and political maturity. Well, Chapman fired back, saying political maturity is code for something else.
Political maturity are the words used now to describe us as we sell out our ideals, sell out ourselves, sell our families out, and then, of course, sell our country. Your freedom fighters, you treat them like political potcakes. Your constituents, your stalwarts, your council, treating them like political potcakes. You only know them when you need them.
Chapman continued, slamming insecure political leadership that he says has no place in modern times, with information at everybody's fingertips.
Members, loyalty cannot be because you gave me a job. After your parents worked so hard to send you to school and educate you, Loyalty cannot be that I must agree with everything you say at the expense of my constituents. Loyalty, Mr. Speaker, should never outweigh integrity.
The Centerville MP also reflected on the irony that Ministers' comments were made at the funeral of a man who himself parted ways with the party.
Mr. Wells left the Free National Movement, and that wasn't even mentioned in the presentations at the service. But he left the Free National Movement because leadership became arrogant and disrespectful.
Chapman has had some detractors since leaving the party. Chairman of the FNM Centerville Constituency Association, Warren Cartwright, called Chapman's decision unfortunate and an act of egotism. He added that in 2 years as chairman of the FNM Centerville Constituency Association, he never had a substantive or impactful conversation with Mr. Chapman over the needs of Centerville residents or the business of the association. 6 weeks since the passage of Hurricane Dorian, assessments are still underway on Grand Bahama. Our Kyle Joaquin is on the island where hundreds of homes have been deemed unsafe for people to occupy.
Here in Grand Bahama, some 6 weeks after Dorian, a lot of the homes look just like this with sheer destruction everywhere. And according to the Grand Bahama Port Authority, some 200 homes have this sticker on the outside, deeming it unsafe for anybody to enter or occupy. In Lady Lake subdivision, the storm surge was as high as 18 feet. This home was decimated with the roof and the northern wall gone. Just about all of the contents that were once inside now sit scattered on the lawn and on the street. And after inspection, the house now has an orange sticker labeling it as unsafe. After an assessment of over 630 structures in Freeport, 249 homes have been deemed unsafe, 171 allowing restricted use, and 210 deemed safe.
This area would have suffered about 18 feet or experienced about 18 feet surges in this area. And so based on the structural damage that we can see, which is quite obvious, we would have deemed this as a department unsafe.
Nikira Wilchcomb, the Director of Building and Development Services at Grand Bahama Port Authority, also took us in Heritage Subdivision, where furniture, clothing, and other debris remain piled up in front of homes, awaiting collection 6 weeks after the storm. While some in this area have decided to move back home, Wilchcomb said there is a process the Port Authority is encouraging residents to follow before they seek to occupy their home.
Well, one of the things we also encourage residents to make sure that they would have gotten a qualified, licensed GBPA electrician to go through their electrical system, change out any wirings that needed to be changed out, plugs that needed to be changed, just to clean that overall system before re-energization. Once that was done, we would have given that information to the power company, and they would have begun the process of re-energizing those homes.
Here in Voyager Bay, this home from the front looks structurally sound, set aside from the yellow caution tape. But if you were to just follow me just to the back here, the entire northern wall of this home was taken out by the storm surge. According to Henry St. George, the director of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, this Voyager Bay home actually belongs to one of the Port Authority's employees who endured the storm in the home with his family. On the second floor, hanging out the window, is a red t-shirt that was used to let first responders know that people were still inside. Noel said for homes like this, there is a long road ahead.
Obviously, as the regulatory authority for all building in the Freeport area, there's a big responsibility on us to make sure that buildings are rebuilt and repaired in a safe manner. That said, we are working in very close collaboration with the Ministry of Works. Mr. Clint Bain has been incredibly helpful to ensure that when the NGOs who are based in the Grand Bahama at the moment decide that they are going to help individuals, communities, parts of the social infrastructure here, that application, that planning process will be a smooth one.
For those residents who had water damage in their home, the Port Authority is preaching a message for people to remove, remediate, and replace. It's been 6 weeks since the passage of the Category 5 hurricane that ripped through homes like these and many in East Grand Bahama. Electricity has been restored to 95% of Grand Bahama Power and Light customers in Freeport. But in the eastern end of the island, there is no electricity and won't be for a while. Thankfully, for many, the water supply by Grand Bahama Utilities Company has been turned on, but not without some troubles of their own.
After the storm, realizing that this had the least amount of damage amongst all the major plants.
But all of this was underwater there.
Right. But the other plants had water above even the roof. So what we did is we focused on this plant first, and we was able to supply water from this plant within a week.
So none of the equipment was damaged, all of this was fine then?
The equipment, unfortunately, was damaged, but with the specialty teams we have, we was able to break all this down, clean it up, get it back in service, we're all within a week.
According to Remington Wilchcomb, the utility engineering manager, while water has been made available for bathing and washing, the company is urging residents not to drink the water just yet.
Our well fields was inundated with salt water. That salt water raised what we call salinity in our TDS levels beyond World Health Organization standards. But since then, our first priority would have been to restore water to our customers. So within a week, we actually was able to pump water to our customers. Not potable water, but at least water for sanitary purposes.
And as the rebuilding process continues for Grand Bahama, relief is still coming in, and in large numbers, as we saw when we visited the Grand Bahama Disaster Relief Foundation's warehouse, where container after container of items was brought in from local and international donors.
Now everything is packed into these boxes here. You can see we've got the Grand Bahama Disaster Relief Foundation logo on there so people know where it's coming from. And then we have a distribution network which reaches, I think, 80 different churches in Grand Bahama.
So that's where people come and get the supplies.
So they then arrive here. We have a computer system and an accounting system which registers everyone who said they need to come in and collect aid. We document exactly what they've received, and we've documented exactly where it's gone to.
Donors have sent everything from tents to microwaves to personal items, all in bins sealed with love in writing that says "praying for you" and "love from Florida." For volunteers like Edison and Brister, who has been lending a helping hand for weeks since the storm, it's about being his brother's keeper.
In my heart, we really got to give back. Like the people, the residents, the government in the community, they're really hurting. They're really in need of food, hygiene supplies, water, flashlights, whatever it may be. So we just here trying to help out and make sure that they get on their way to recovery.
From Grand Bahama for Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Still to come on Our News, $5 million is how much it will cost to reopen Marsh Harbor Airport. The details straight ahead.